everybody. Welcome.
Sorry, you've just turned that off.
Welcome to the Boy Party episode about the Bodyguard, starring Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston. Let's go. I'm Lucien, and I'm joined by Shane. Fade out the theme music. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Boy Party, podcast about movies. We're two massive stars of movies, music, tabloid intrigue, and the Horizon and American Saga franchise. Share the screen and battle it out for screen time, top billing, the fatter paycheck, the most acclaim. And this week we are back to discuss the classic 1992 romantic, musical, drama, thriller, action, drama, The Bodyguard.
The Bodyguard.
There's something for everyone in Mick Jackson's The Bodyguard. Can you tell I don't have the script in front of me for the intro? My computer shut it down.
We're 26 episodes in. I thought you'd know at this stage.
Well, it's the podcast, folks, where every week we discuss movies that give audiences two for the price of one on legends of the silver screen and the music business. And we'll be delving into dueling star personas, a bit of behind-the-scenes drama, and the ultimate. We already did this bit. And don't worry, we discuss all actors of all genders from week to week, because girls are invited to the boy party and gender is a construct. Anyway, my name is Lucien, and I'm joined by Shane Kelly this week.
Good evening.
My bodyguard, my knight in shining armor.
Yes, I truly am a man that just makes Lucien completely neurotic all the time.
Yeah.
He won't like step outside the house anymore because I've put the fear god in him.
Yeah. Oh, who's that? Oh, it's Patrick Burns.
Lucien can now pretend the doors are unlocked
Yeah.
and all this sort of stuff.
We have a real Patrick Burns dynamic, like I don't know if this makes any sense.
No.
I wish Patrick Burns was writing letters to me being like, "Dear Lucien,
What daily, bitch?
You have everything. I have nothing, and you are going to die."
Well, according to Patrick Burns, he has quite a lot in his bag and he knows a lot of people. So
He does have a lot of things in his bag, yeah. Now, folks, we are recording this episode during a letterboxed outage.
Meltdown.
So this episode is going to be, it's back on air. It's back. The boxed is back. Temporarily, anyway.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do this show without access to Letterboxd because it's where I go to see all the important details. But obviously, Wikipedia and IMDb do serve much the same purpose. I have been watching nothing but Kevin Costner movies for the last 2-3 weeks. I don't really know why. I guess his filmography covers a wide swathe of studio films from an era just before I was born that I've never seen, and that are all, in their own unique way, fairly interesting.
And we're kind of seeing it crash and burn currently.
We're seeing it crash and burn currently. So I'm sort of watching as many Kevin Costner films as I possibly can because I feel as though it's giving me a fabulous education in how things were in Hollywood and with audience taste.
Just over the last 40 years.
Yeah,
really.
but especially like in the late 80s, early 90s, which is, I guess, like an era that I'm not massively familiar with. So it's fun. He exists fully in the studio system in that era. He like never really, with the exception maybe of JFK, in that era, he never gave himself over to like an auteur director to like mess around with the way that most big stars, eventually do. And he basically just kind of did things that he wanted to do, that he could be in control of over and over and over again. From the start, and eventually ended up directing, producing, and sort of running his own little mini empire of kind of Costner movies. So he is an interesting person to kind of go through and watch a lot of stuff by. And of course, this is because of the release of Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1, which came out a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Can we drop the chapter 1 now?
Yeah, no, because the other movie still exists.
Okay.
It's not quite a Dead Reckoning Part 1 situation.
No.
But Horizon American Saga Chapter 1 came out on the 28th of June. I went to see it. There was 5 people in my cinema. 3 people walked out
Really?
Before the end. I stuck around until just before the end. I did also leave like a few minutes early because I was like, I'm not missing the bus and waiting 45 minutes to get home for the sake of the last 4 minutes.
And you're not aware of any big cliffhanger that you missed out on?
It ends with a teaser for the next movie, which I have read the description of, and I get it. What's going on? Giovanni Ribisi running a printing press. Sounds thrilling. And, well, folks, you're lucky we waited till today to record this episode because we have very, very up-to-date news from Warner Brothers Pictures that Horizon and American Saga Chapter 2, due for release in mid-August, has had its release cancelled. and will not be getting released, and no new release date has been provided. They're using the excuse that they're going to give the first movie time to grow legs on VOD, which certainly isn't a terrible idea considering that it has absolutely bombed to high heavens in cinemas, and there's no evidence that people are going to suddenly discover and love Horizon Chapter 1 between now and the middle of August. But if they put the first one up on streaming and they wait a couple months, maybe there's life for part 2. But
yeah, I guess the idea is, are the TV people going to watch it?
Yeah,
are the Yellowstone people going to watch it?
The Western people who don't go to the cinema. I know middle-aged men who are excited for this movie who haven't gone to see it because they just don't go to the cinema.
Yeah.
And it's silly, and I don't understand it personally. I'm like, why would you not go see it if you're excited for it? But there are people who just don't go to the cinema.
People are
particular, like maybe the kick they need to go to see the second one is to have already seen the first one on TV. I mean, that's insane to me. But like I went to see the first one because I'm sort of fascinated by these passion projects that come out. I've been watching a lot of Costner. But also the novelty for me was that the two movies were coming out so close together. I thought that was great crack. And I was really excited for just seeing how it went. And I guess we know now how it's going, which is terribly. But it was going to be funny to see the second one come out, regardless of whether or not the first one did well. Just in you're putting out a sequel like 7 weeks later, like crazy behavior.
Like in hindsight, this was like a completely predictable.
Oh, problem. Completely. Of course.
Had they prepared for this, or was it just like panic stations when it bombed?
I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why they didn't have a plan B for if it bombed. Like, come on, it's a fucking Western with
it's a meandering 3-hour
Western. The only star in it is a 70-year-old guy whose entire star persona is now associated with television. And the rest of the cast is C's, D, and E-list talent. And I know a Western hasn't performed well. Like, we've done Westerns on the show. A Western hasn't really performed that well in the cinema in the last decade. Like, I don't remember how well The Magnificent Seven with Denzel did. It might have done okay, but that was a very specific Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, huge draw. The Lone Ranger we discussed.
I was just about to say,
Westerns have not been doing well.
How did The Lone Ranger do open weekend? Was it a flop?
The Lone Ranger did terribly. The Lone Ranger opened behind Despicable Me 2 and a few other things. Like it did.
And that had the kid element.
That had the Pirates of the Caribbean Johnny Depp element. The Horizon is really only going to appeal to people over 60, and then freaks like me who want to go see a silly movie. And you want to see it too, but you just weren't around that weekend.
So how long has it been out now? A week?
It's been out for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
It's not good, everybody. Don't bother with it. It's TV. It is TV quality. It is TV pacing. It certainly has a TV cast, which is all such a pity because I really wanted it to be fun and good and long and great.
Like, we did watch Dances with Wolves a couple of weeks ago, and that was like...
Dances with Wolves is a bit of a slog as well. But Dances with Wolves,
it's a bit of a spectacle, at least.
It's a spectacle, and there's a bit of like running and riding horses, and Horizon really lacks movement. It is a lot of trudgy kind of stumbling around little towns. There's very little, like it is all shot outdoors.
There's no 15-minute shot of buffalo running.
Oh God, there's no horses running,
animals,
chasing anything. It's all just kind of walking around little villages. Like the one good thing about it is it's all set outdoors, but the cast is a bunch of sort of has-been kind of Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, Luke Wilson.
They're all the kind of guys that would have showed up in this 15 years ago and would have been slightly more appealing.
They're very affordable people to get for your movie.
Yeah.
Megalopolis is a similar situation where you have your Giancarlo Esposito and your Natalie Emmanuel and John Voight, Shia LaBeouf. These are people who are like
even Aubrey Plaza is not a huge movie star.
These are people who are looking for jobs. But anyway, Horizon Part 2 not coming. And to celebrate, let's take it back to 1992 when Kevin Costner was at the peak of his powers. This is his most successful film at the box office.
And possibly very much the complete opposite of what Horizon is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This movie is so crowd-pleasing, accessible, four-quadrant. As I said in the intro, every genre covered in The Bodyguard. Technically not his highest-grossing film. Let's see if you know the answer to this. There are 2 films he's in more successful than this. He is way down the cast list.
Okay.
He plays the father of a famous character. and they are both big franchise movies from the last 11 years. And he is...
Are any of them animated?
No. These are 2 films that are in the same franchise. A first film and a
He
sequel.
shows up as a father in a franchise.
He plays a father, and they are huge movies. They are 800 million worldwide and 700 million worldwide. And he's like maybe 6th, 7th build or has the width or something in these.
Is it Marvel?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Is it superhero related?
It is superhero related, yeah.
Is he Superman's dad or something?
He is Jonathan Kent in Man of Steel and
okay.
Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice.
Yeah. I was just about to say he kind of avoided that whole thing, but he didn't really.
He didn't, but it's a good role for him.
Yeah.
He literally just plays like a farmer dad who dies in a tornado and then comes back as a ghost. It's a good use of Kevin Costner.
They should have ghosts in Horizon.
They should have ghosts in Horizon. I wouldn't put it past them.
No.
The Bodyguard made $400 million worldwide.
Huge hit.
A huge hit. I mean, has any movie this year made that much? Of course they have. But like
Inside Out, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. But like that just seems crazy to me. Like
it's like the Fall Guy making. Like, is the Fall Guy making that money? No, it's kind of the same thing. It's similar.
Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out like what's made less money than that. I mean, okay, let's go domestic, just to make life easier for ourselves. Domestic, it made 122 million, so it did really well internationally.
Yeah.
Like it made more money than Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Okay, these are not great. These are not making it sound that impressive. Anyway, it is impressive. It's very impressive.
Inflation adjusted, no.
For a movie about a fucking singer and a bodyguard to make $411 million. And
but I would be all over this if it came out today.
Absolutely. We'd be psyched for this.
100%.
We would be so excited. I mean, obviously, the closest comparison to this is the Star is Born, I don't want to say franchise, but the Star is Born legacy of films, which are, big pop singer. I mean, not always, but in Barbara and Gaga's case, big pop singer, slaughter in, handsome male lead, romance ensues. It's about her role, her life as a singer, the music industry. There's lots of drama, whatever. Mm-hmm. This obviously has a very different set of circumstances. It's not about the man in question is from outside the business. He's just a tough guy, and the conflict is more about murder and threats and assassination.
It's a protective thing rather than
a rising in the industry thing.
Yeah, and he at no point becomes jealous over it or whatever.
There's no the stakes of her success as a star are not at stake in this film.
No, she is surprisingly enormous star that I don't think exists in real life.
No, she's a fictitious idea of the biggest star in America who has the top song of the charts and is about to win the actress for best Oscar.
Yeah.
The only people you could really draw a parallel with would sort of be Streisand in the 70s and Lady Gaga in 2018 if she had won best actress. Maybe there was a moment like this for Cher, who did win the Oscar for Best Actress at one point. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, being a singing and acting superstar at the exact same moment, as Jennifer Lopez knows, is very difficult. and we would find that this character, whose name I cannot for the life of me remember.
Rachel Marron.
Rachel Marron. So you remember this name. That's just because you made a Mark Maron joke.
I did make a Mark Maron joke.
He said, me writing letters to Mark Maron. Maron, bitch, I'm going to kill you.
You have everything.
Yeah, writing into the WTF listeners forum. Well, anyway, tell us the premise of this film, Shane. I've talked enough.
Whitney Houston, Rachel Marron, has her dressing room bombed, essentially, at the beginning of the film, and then, whatever, everyone's scared. Whatever, we don't know who did it.
I was scared.
You were scared. I was scared. And she hires Kevin Costner, who is the best bodyguard in the business, to take care of her, and then the plot just kind of unfolds from there. There is an unknown assassin, essentially, sending funny little magazine clipping letters to her, telling her, whatever, I'm going to kill you.
And I guess the reason he's taken seriously as a threat is because he got the
bomb off the first time. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of it. Like, there's nothing more. Like, there's one. I guess there's two more attempts on her life throughout the film. One in a snowy cabin up in the mountains, Colorado, I assume, somewhere. And then finally at the Oscars, which is the final scene of the film.
Yeah. The guy tries to shoot her in the middle of her Best Actress acceptance speech,
with a camera gun.
Oh yeah,
which is quite cool.
Gun. Who's the guy at the end? It's not the scary blonde guy.
No, he's like. Was he writing the letters? Did they find out he was writing the letters? And he was a separate guy.
Oh, so it's two different guys. He was a distraction.
Well, they had a legitimate reason to pick him up off the street for some reason.
Yeah.
So maybe he was writing the letters and someone else was doing the shooting stuff.
I think his locker got found and it had loads of
something like
Rachel
that.
Marron.
Maybe it was planted.
Yeah.
There's an unfortunate problem with this film where it drags in the middle and you start dipping out where you don't pick up on plot points because it's not really relevant.
No, really they spend so much of the middle of the film just showing us these two people falling for each other. And then kind of throwing in a little bit of plot here and there. But you miss it.
It's also not even that romantic. I think she just develops some sort of Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, it's not very romantic.
It's not.
They don't really... For like one of the most iconic romances of the 90s.
She just begins to cling to him. Yeah, she just
like,
begins to cling to him because he keeps telling her, you're going to die if you step 1 foot away from me.
Yeah. He's completely neurotic.
Yeah.
And he's terrified because he almost got Reagan killed because he wasn't working that day.
That's the funniest thing.
Which is really funny.
That's hilarious.
But it's also like a directly pulled from Eastwood in The Line of Fire, where his whole thing is that he was the guy who was meant to protect Kennedy and he didn't.
Yeah, and that's his entire backstory for being neurotic.
Yeah. So he's just like, oh my God, I won't let her get killed like I did Reagan. Reagan didn't even get killed.
No, he didn't. He got shot by John Hinckley.
Sure, yeah.
Sure, he's on Twitter now.
He is on Twitter now.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a folk hero. So yeah, like the relationship between them is not a particularly exciting or compelling one, but like I fuck with the mechanics of the situation, I suppose, in the sense that I am super interested in this celebrity culture, threats of murder against a celebrity.
You like logistics of being a celebrity.
She needs to be, our house has to have cameras outside and the son is in danger and he's driving this way and she can't go for brunch because there might be a guy with a gun. Like all that stuff is like super thrilling and tense and scary and like, yeah, I find it super interesting. I wish more movies about being a celebrity had the detail that parts of this film have about like what it would involve. Like Challengers recently had a scene at the start where Zendaya's character is like looking at a proof of like a billboard that she's gonna be on. She starts like drawing things on it. And I was like, oh, this is going to be such an interesting movie about like what the day-to-day of being a celebrity is. And then the film never does that again. The rest of it is just fucking tennis and arguments. Yeah. And I think A Star Is Born 2018 has a lot of that stuff in it where Ali is like bickering with her manager, or Bradley Cooper is like bickering with his brother about how he's going deaf, and you're like, oh, this is really interesting, like inside the life of these stars. And The Bodyguard does that better than a lot of films do, which I think is why I like it.
Do you think The Bodyguard inserts the music scenes as well as like A Star Is Born?
Not in the slightest. No, not at all. I mean, but there's not that many music scenes in it, thank God, because I don't enjoy Whitney Houston as a singer as much as I enjoy Lady Gaga, or honestly, as much as I enjoy Whitney Houston as an actress in this film. I think she's perfectly good in this. It's not like a riveting performance that will stay with me forever, but I do think her like
it's completely
mannerisms with Costner are natural, and she feels like a somewhat real star. Considering the film is pretty goofy around her, and like she got nominated for a fucking Razzie for this and shit, and I'm like, that's people being nasty towards Whitney Houston, because like she's perfectly good in this, compared to like Tina Turner in Beyond Thunderdome, or basically any acting Beyonce has done. If you compare her to the other sort of black female singer superstars, I think she's quite a good actress. And
perfectly good.
Like,
maybe you're inviting a little bit of criticism by having your character be the most famous, perfect person in the world. You're kind of like...
I think the issue is that like she doesn't have any flaws as a character, you know.
No.
Like if like Whitney Houston, a person with a very difficult life, full of things that one would wish hadn't happened to her. But like if the character was a drug addict or an alcoholic or something, then there'd be more. Well, it'd be more snotty nose acting, but there'd be more room maybe for the character to not feel like this like beacon of wonderful sun and light. But they really have made this character pretty like perfect, flawless, lovely woman who like everyone who doesn't like her is a fucking asshole. Because how couldn't you like Rachel? She's the best.
But I mean, I don't dislike that either. There was no need to try and get her into put in a dramatic like sad performance of vulnerability or whatever.
No need. Very quick sad thing I want you to guess. This one came out in 1992. Whitney Houston dies 20 years later in 2012. Do you know what age she was when she died in 2012? I cannot get my head around this.
Was she like 48?
She was 48. Like, I was under the impression she was in her mid 60s. Like,
Yeah.
48 is completely insane. She didn't seem like she was in her 40s at all.
No. So what? She was 28 in...
So she's 28 in this.
Yeah.
She seems a lot older than 28 in this, and she seems a lot older than 48 in...
I don't know. I think she's...
So let me see. She's born in 63, and Costner is born in 55. So he's 8 years older than her. So he's 36 in this. He's 36 in this. Yeah, we discussed this as well. Yeah. So they both look way older. They look...
I don't think
45 and 35 in this. You don't think so?
I think 28 is fine.
28? God.
I think we, in our heads, project her as being an older
artist in general. I guess Whitney
Houston
Houston to me feels like an 80s star, but she's like a tail end of the 80s, early 90s star.
Yeah.
Like years active, 77 to 2012. Well, geez, okay, so she was 14 and then 77.
Yeah, like to be honest, I have no sense of Whitney Houston's music career and when it kind of peaked and when was this it?
It was big. She was very big. So this was kind of her peak, I think, in terms of "I Will Always Love You," and this is the best-selling soundtrack of all time. Mm-hmm. She did make a comeback right before she died, and like "$1 Million Bill" was a huge song. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
$1 Million Bill, say whoa! Oh, like that was a huge song in like 2010, 2009, 2010. And she was on X Factor and stuff. So like she was back as like a current pop star just before she died in a way where I was like, who is this slightly older woman who I don't know much about? And then she's dead, and everyone's like people reacted to her. A lot of people reacted to her death the way that people reacted to Michael Jackson's death, which to me was a bit baffling because I just didn't get a sense that she was that big of a deal.
Honestly, when I think when I was like 12 or however old when Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston died, I heard 48, I heard 50. I was like, that's old.
Well, Michael Jackson 50 something seemed old. He was 50 or something. That seemed old for Michael Jackson because I guess Michael Jackson just had like dying young written on his scary face. A little bit. Whitney Houston, maybe a bit less so. But also Whitney Houston just like, did not seem like a massive deal to me. And I think that was very much a like white Irish person problem. Because I think if you talk to Americans, Whitney Houston dying is one of the like 3 definitive deaths of the century to a lot of Americans. They will literally say Michael Jackson, Robin Williams, and Whitney Houston are like.
Whereas if you're in Ireland, you'll probably stick Amy Winehouse ahead of that.
You'd stick Amy Winehouse ahead of that. You'd maybe even stick like Stephen Gately or Jerry Ryan ahead of that. Obviously, those are Irish specific, but I don't think Whitney Houston is any Irish person's top 3 shocking celebrity deaths of the 21st century. So that's our problem. But
not to trivialize it, like
no, but it is interesting how she seems to have been like a major symbol in a way that maybe we don't quite cop. And this film is obviously part of that. This film is super, super iconic with the sort of watch 3 movies a year people. Like it is constantly being redone as a stage musical. There is a Bodyguard the musical, and you'll see it in the Board Gosh. Like it'll tour the way that Wicked and the Book of Mormon tour, and you're like, oh, the Bodyguard is back. Like it has that presence, and the poster is always a recreation of the movie poster with him carrying her in the rain. Like, so it's this very very big brand. I think that they could easily remake any day with 2 current stars. Who would be the best 2 current stars to remake it with?
Beyonce. Is she too old?
Beyonce's probably too old now.
Is Beyonce nearly 40 now?
Nah, she must be. She must be over 40.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if Beyonce died now, that would be
absolutely. Yes, that would be crazy.
It's like surely that's the equivalent.
But I guess that's the equivalent. But does Whitney Houston, everyone knowing she had issues with drugs and alcohol and stuff before she died, surely that is just a less surprising death. Like Sinead O'Connor, right? Sinead O'Connor dying is not the same as Whitney Houston dying because, unfortunately, there was always tragic things happening in her life. Whereas, same with Amy Winehouse. Whereas Beyonce would be like, what the fuck happened? Like, come out of nowhere. Anyway. Unfair on these people to speculate about their deaths, I suppose. But what was I saying? I think you'd have to go younger. I think you'd have to go late 20s, early 30s. It doesn't have to be a
Glastonbury headliner SZA.
Glastonbury headliner SZA, perhaps. And then the man would be...
Bradley Cooper kind of was.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Who's younger? Who's like 35? I'm sick of everyone putting Glenn Powell in every one of these conversations, but it'd probably be Glenn Powell.
Probably would be Glenn Powell.
Yeah. I mean, Glenn Powell actually does have a lot of Kevin Costner DNA. He's got that kind of Republican face.
Is there anyone doing now what Kevin Costner was doing?
God, no.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper, a little bit.
Yeah, there's no one in their 30s now kind of driving their entire career themselves.
No way.
Doesn't seem to.
No one in the 30s.
Actors in their 30s now seem so young to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like Glenn Powell and... Glenn Powell's 35. Margot Robbie's 30-something. She lies about her age. Emma Stone is
What do you mean she lies about her age?
Margot Robbie famously lies about her age.
Really?
As in, she says she's 33 or 34.
Yeah.
There is proof from an Australian newspaper from when she was much younger that she is like 4 years older than that.
Oh.
And that when she was in the
So she was like 25 in Wall Street.
She was way older than she says. Yeah. Look it up.
Never heard that.
It's a conspiracy theory sort of, but like I've seen Australian media stuff from 15 years ago that backs it up.
Huh.
I believe it. I don't believe for a second that Margot Robbie's like 33.
Fair enough.
No way. You're telling me that she's 8 years younger than Alison Brie. Like, that's just not true. Anyway.
That's your point.
And Anne Hathaway, like, not true. Anyway. This is Whitney Houston's first film. She's not in anything else particularly big. Like, she's in Waiting to Exhale, The Preacher's Wife, Sparkle. You haven't heard of any of those.
No.
I've kind of heard of them. And then, like, a Whitney documentary.
Sorry, I think we have to point out the very obvious one of Barry Keoghan and Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, Barry Keoghan and Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah,
it kind of works.
It does kind of work.
Like, he's a bit weird and neurotic.
Yeah,
and she's.
But he couldn't play this part. He's a bit too young for this.
He's like 34.
It doesn't matter. He reads too young for this.
Yeah.
I know that's what we were just saying.
Yeah.
Paul Mescal and any of his little indie singer girlfriends. Like you could do the fucking indie rock version of this.
Maybe. Yeah.
And instead of being like a former Reagan bodyguard, he's like a former like head of security at like some fucking
Lil Wayne
tech company or something. I don't know. It'd be fun. Anyway, Whitney Houston's film career never really took off after this, unfortunately.
Did this get any acclaim at all?
Nope. Did not. This film was panned by critics. Unfairly, in my opinion. I think it's flawed, but a lot of fun.
It's a perfectly good concept and it functions. Whatever, it's not
a very functional star-led movie.
Yeah, it gives them their opportunity
very wide
to do
audience.
their thing.
Yeah,
like it. Yeah.
38%. No, I'm not even reading out the Ortiz score. It got mixed to negative reviews, and she was nominated for a Razzie, and it did not get. It got 2 Oscar nominations. Apologies for song.
Oh, of course.
As the song in the film gets nominated for song, nominated for Grammys, nominated for MTV Movie Awards, and the Japan Academy Film Prize, but also Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Worst Actress. I
don't know how good they had it back then.
People seem to really hate Costner's hair in this. I didn't think about it. I noticed it. Interesting. I didn't think about it once.
I did notice it. I just thought, fine, that's Kevin Costner's hair. Who cares? But I noticed it as a haircut.
Interesting. I did.
He just had nothing done with it. It's like he got it cut short and couldn't like slick it any one way or the other. It just kind of sits there.
Interesting. They've parodied it on The Simpsons. They've parodied it on 30 Rock. There's a joke about it in Adam Sandler's Bulletproof. There's a joke about it in the trailer for The Hitman's Bodyguard. And they did The Hitman's Bodyguard did like a poster riffing on this and everything. It was conceived originally it was directed by this guy Mick Jackson, who's a British TV director who did Threads. Do you know what Threads is?
No.
It's this really scary BBC miniseries about what would happen if there was nuclear fallout in the UK. It's terrifying.
Oh, very good.
He directed it, written by Lawrence Kasdan of Star Wars and whatever fame, Raiders of the Lost Ark. He wrote it in the 70s as a Steve McQueen, Diana Ross vehicle. He brought it to John Boorman, and they came to Ireland, where the director did a treatment for a version of it. Now, John Boorman is an IFTA Lifetime Achievement winner, and there's a photo of him in my office. And then Steve McQueen drops out or dies, and Ryan O'Neal, our friend, gets attached with Diana Ross. And then Diana Ross pulled out of the movie. So Diana Ross is a very obvious person to put in it before Whitney Houston. Anyway, like Diana Ross, Whitney Houston, and Beyonce are all in a sort of a legacy of the big Black American singer. Then Whitney Houston was attached, and people were saying Clint Eastwood was going to be in it, which makes perfect sense.
Yep.
But the age gap there is probably 10 or 15 or more years. God, 20 more years than this one. Like,
I think he's in his mid-90s.
Yeah, he's like 20 years older than Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
20, 25. Kasdan was asked to direct, said he didn't want to do it. Costner made Silverado with Kasdan. He became enthusiastic about it. And then Costner became a major star after.
Surprised Harrison Ford didn't get attached, given the writer.
Good point. Yeah, I'm surprised as well. I don't know.
I wonder, was it written for him initially? Or...
He's the same age, more or less. He's 10 years older than Costner.
Is he?
Yeah, well, it was written for Steve McQueen. But yeah, you're right. Ford would make a lot of sense. Would he be better? I don't know. The thing is, like, I think Harrison Ford is a better actor than Kevin Costner, but I have got a weird contrarian thing now where I want to defend Kevin Costner, and I kind of hate Harrison Ford because everyone likes Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I don't think people think Kevin Costner is cool.
No.
And that's why he's fun to like.
Yeah.
Because he's just kind of weird and bad.
He's a dork, and I like...
He is a dork.
Yeah, I feel like... And he's also kind of like because he's like not well liked by the sort of the... I don't know. He's just like... He's an uncool fucking freak. And
but he tries really hard.
He tries really hard. Whereas Harrison Ford, like, doesn't really try hard at all. Harrison Ford rocking up in Captain America, Brave New World next year, playing the Red Hulk, while Kevin Costner is getting Horizon 3 and 4 made.
Yeah, that's
I know which of them is spending better in
their
70s better. Like, there was... this is a very, very strange story. This is from a 2019 article in The Guardian, a reputable source. Kevin Costner has confirmed that the late Princess Diana was set to star alongside him in a sequel to The Bodyguard. He said that he, Diana, and producers were eager to get the project off the ground. He said Diana would take on a role in the same capacity as Whitney. Nobody knew that for about a year. The plot would involve his character protecting Diana from stalkers and paparazzi before their relationship turned romantic. Sounds the exact same as this.
Mm-hmm.
He said a script arrived on his desk on the 30th of August, 1997.
Oh, no.
And on the 31st of August, 1997, the day that I was due to be born before I was a week late.
Huh.
Princess Diana dies horribly in a car crash. Another celebrity death we should acknowledge. One of the most, I mean, last century, but yeah.
You said that very cheerfully. Do you think Kevin Costner harbors personal guilt over the death of Princess Diana?
Guilt? I don't know how he would be guilty of it, but
no, but just like, I'm
sure
he should have been. He should have been there, like Mark Wahlberg in 9/11.
Yes, he should have been there. Yeah, if I'd been reading that script with her in the back of the car, I could have, human shield. He says that she asked him on the phone, "I can't do a Diana voice. How did she talk?"
I'm Princess Diana. I'm from England.
Are we going to have a kissing scene? She said it in a very respectful way. She's very nervous. Her life was very governed. And I
thought that was you making that up.
No, and Costner said, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of that, but we can make that okay too. This sounds like the most made up fucking story I've ever heard in my entire life. No way were they going to make The Bodyguard 2 with Princess Diana playing herself? And the plot was going to be the same as the first movie? Like,
was this a Kevin Costner quote?
Yes, Costner said this.
Yeah, we were going to kiss too.
He said this in the newspaper.
It's fucking Jay from the In-Betweener shit.
Completely made up. What a liar. He's telling fibs. He's telling lies.
Telling lies.
Anyway. Quick run through the Costner movies. Now, I was going to say, which of the stars has gotten more box office? I think
we know.
Yeah. Costner's movies have grossed a total of $4.9 billion. Not bad.
Okay.
I'll run through his biggest films because I've watched most of these recently. Dances with Wolves, you saw, as he said, a spectacle to it. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I thought was shite. You see any of that?
No. Dances with Wolves is a good film to like turn on 20 minutes in and turn off 20 minutes
and kind of just like
and
go and cook your dinner during it, like
and just sit and stare at it kind of 10 minutes and get lost.
So for Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner won the Academy Award for Best Picture and Best Director. It was nominated for Best Actor. That is his only relationship with the Oscars. He has never before or since been nominated for a single Oscar. Which is fascinating to me. They were like, you get your 1 year, and then we're going to pretend you don't exist forever. Which is really funny. You wonder if Cruise had done something like Dances with Wolves, could he have gotten that spot? Like, win picture, win director, like it happened to Mel Gibson the same decade, you know? It's unfair, it feels, that Costner and Gibson got to have that moment and Cruise never did. But that's
because Cruise is tied to action and these guys are tied to westerns.
Sure,
like westerns are always going to be more receptive to.
Well, yeah, but Cruise also was making Born on the 4th of July and Rain Man. You know, there were opportunities. He just again, those were with big directors. It was hard. Anyway, back to Costner. Robin Hood, I thought was dog shit. I really didn't like it. It was too long. It was so boring. Waterworld is the same director as Robin Hood. I watched that the night before last. Didn't like it very much. A couple of fun scenes. It's basically Mad Max on water. Kevin Costner's character does have gills, which is fun. But that movie's a slog. JFK, we watched last year. Pretty good. Solid. Oliver Stone. I think Costner's really good, JFK.
Yeah, we kind of watched that as an Oppenheimer prequel.
Because everyone started talking about it around the time of Oppenheimer. I think Costner really keeps that film entertaining. Just by presence. Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit. Weirdly, his 8th most successful film. I don't understand that. It looks like a lot of his movies just did not actually make that much money. I think Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit is not very good. Hidden Figure. Oh, this is out of order. That would explain that. Hidden Figures. He's barely in that. The Guardian, never seen. Rumor has it. The Untouchables, Tin Cup, Open Range. 13 Days. You love 13 Days.
I do love 13 Days.
Yeah, he's in that.
Best 3-star film of all time.
Yeah. Field of Dreams is on Aer Lingus flights right now, so I'm going to watch it when I go to America in a few weeks. I'm saving it for that. Of course, John Mulaney did a great little speech about it at the Oscars this year. Molly's Game. You forgot he was in Molly's Game.
I did not know
he was in Molly's Game. Chastain's dad, and they have a scene on a park bench. He's in it a little bit.
Fair enough.
Then, For the Love of the Game, I constantly talk about the scene where Kelly Preston, R.I.P., shouts, "Is this not America? And is baseball not America's favorite pastime?"
That's where he's playing a baseball player.
He plays like a washed-up baseball player.
I clips that on TikTok sometimes.
That came out from 1999. That's a little bit later.
Yeah.
Mr. Brooks, I watched half of that the other day on TV. He plays a serial killer. Very silly movie. $45 million gross. Not great. We're down into the sort of double digits now. Criminal is a weird movie with him and Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot that doesn't exist. No Way Out, very well liked. Haven't watched that one yet. A Perfect World, Clint Eastwood directed and starred opposite him, which is a very solid film. He plays like a killer on the run with a little boy who wears a Casper the Ghost costume. And Kevin Costner's like, "Oh man, you're such a scary ghost." It's good. Draft Day, starring Griffin Newman.
Yep.
That's a fun film. That movie made $28 million in America and $1 million rest of the world.
Is that all?
And he
very, very cheap film to make, though.
And then down at 25 million gross, we have Horizon, an American Saga, which made 24 million in the US and 1 million international. I actually don't think that that's as bad as I thought. 25 million is better than I thought, but it is insane that it made 24 and 1 outside of the US.
Is there really no market for westerns outside the US?
Not this kind of western. Nope.
Really?
I'm in that 1 million. So proud.
That's crazy.
But then, some of his movies made less than that. The Postman, 20 million. Horizon made more money than The Postman.
Yeah, I guess.
I liked The Postman. I thought The Postman was a lot of fun. Swing Vote, 17 million. Swing Vote's the movie where he's the guy who he's the last person in America to cast his vote. And the election hinges on him. So the fucking presidential candidates are Kelsey Grammer and Dennis Hopper, and they park. Dennis Hopper's in a lot of these movies, by the way. He's in Westworld, and he's in a few others. Waterworld, sorry. They pull their fucking jets up outside his house and they start canvassing him directly. Yeah. And Tucci is one of the campaign managers, and I don't know who the other one is. A really fun cast. And then some of his movies, like The Company Man with Ben Affleck, $4 million gross.
Yeah, you could remake The Bodyguard with Ben Affleck and J-Lo.
Oh yeah, you could. You actually could.
That's kind of the more.
You could do that now.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good. They should do that.
I think they should.
I would like them to be in a film together now. I think that would be fun. And they can have their weird daughter who's obsessed with COVID and masks. She can be in it too. Well, she's not their daughter. She's his daughter with Gardner. But anyway. And I guess we'll never know how much Horizon and American Saga Part 2 makes. Unless it gets saved.
I hope it does.
Anyway, that's Costner. I like Kevin Costner. I think he's like a weird... I don't know. I guess in 2024, in a world where I have given up on America to such an extreme extent, Kevin Costner is just this last flag flying in the wind for me of like... American exceptionalism is dead, but Costner's out here making Horizon. He's trying so hard. Like Joe Biden and Donald Trump are out there fucking bickering their stupid shit. And Kevin Costner, well, there's a good centrist who'll just make his movies and shut the fuck up,
You'd kind of vote for Kevin Costner for president at this stage.
I mean,
between three of
I
them.
won't say I would.
You won't say I would.
Yeah, I might. See, Kevin Costner just endorses fucking Pete Buttigieg. So anyway.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about The Bodyguard? Yes, I want to talk about the big final Oscars sequence. So, Firstly, I will say Costner's dad in this movie, played by one of my favorite actors of all time, Ralph Waite from the Waltons. He plays John Walton. He's the best. Also, Gary Kemp from Spandau Ballet plays sleazy English manager. Cy Spector. The late Bill Cobbs, who died last week, plays Bill Devaney. And then Mike Starr is actually pretty fun as Tony. He's the
I like
beefcake
Tony.
Guy. He reminds me of a couple of like hotel security guards I've worked with.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy. But then my boy Richard Schiff, Dickie Schiff himself, shows up as the
Lucien
Skip
character.
Thomas, the Lucien character in this movie. As many of you will know, I work in the film awards show business. So anytime a film depicts behind the scenes at the Oscars or another awards show, I go, "Oh, give me that! It's gonna touch a nerve." And this certainly does. The idea of there being an assassination at your televised awards show, well, that makes me feel absolutely sick.
Honestly, not as sick as trying to get a Best Actress nominee.
Right, back to her seat. This is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Basic rule. This is a secret from the Insider World, guys.
Yeah.
Do not have a front-runner nominee in a category present an award before their category is handed out. If they lose, do not have them present an award after because they'll be in a bad mood.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So
just stay away.
Stay away if you can from having any nominees presenting. If you must, put them right up the top of the show and then have their category right at the end of the show. That's not what happens in this movie. Richard Schiff is instantly panicked when she comes off stage from presenting Best Song with that other strange man. Instantly, also, Debbie Reynolds shows up, which is really random, and Debbie Reynolds is like, "I always knew you were crazy." Very weird moment. Richard Schiff is instantly like, "You got to get back to your seat. They're presenting Best Actress." And I'm like, "You fools. Why would you have her up on stage presenting Best Song, a category in which her song is nominated, when she's going to be back in her seat for Best Actress?" It is idiotic. And they were asking for her to get shot at. It was such bad decision making. But I do like Richard Schiff's character. He is trying his best. And she's so rude to him. She's so rude. She tells him to shut up at least once. It's a fun...
She was about to be assassinated. Cut her some slack.
She was about to be assassinated. It is a fun little behind the scenes. If anyone's interested in stuff that like goes behind the scenes at the Oscars with dramatization, I highly recommend an episode of Feud, Betty and Joan, the FX Brian Murphy miniseries about whatever happened to Baby J, which we'll cover someday on the podcast. There's an episode of that show that is entirely set on the night of the Oscars, where Joan Crawford and Betty Davis are competing or whatever, and it is great. It's just great behind the scenes at the Oscars and all these cameos of like actors playing famous people from the 60s. It's great fun. So recommend that. That's all I have to say about that. Will we do the box office?
We will. I've actually got it open right in front of me, so we don't need to...
Now, are we doing the year or are we doing the weekend?
I'm doing the weekend.
All right, fuck it. Let's do the weekend.
92. No, fine. We can do the...
I'll struggle with 92. Do you think I'm going to struggle with this?
I know the top 5 films. I've heard them all.
All right, I'll know them.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
This is the weekend, 27th of November, 1992.
So this is a winter release.
Like
no Oscars for this. Okay, and its opening weekend gross is
16 million.
16 million. All right. Third place.
Yep.
I've seen that here. I've only seen that bit, folks. Okay. So, number 1. 1992. I'm going to need a clue.
Features someone we have discussed on this podcast.
This episode or this podcast?
This episode.
Mel Gibson.
No.
Clint Eastwood.
No.
Tom Cruise.
No.
Ben Affleck.
No, this is kind of a joke clue.
A joke clue?
Yeah. An unserious clue.
Oh. No, I don't appreciate an unserious clue.
Would you like me to tell you the answer?
No, I want another clue.
Okay.
Director, please?
Don't know it, but this is the second of these films.
Director, please.
Director, please. I just gave you a clue. It's the second
of
a few.
The second of a few. In 1992.
In 1992.
Is it a Die Hard?
No, and this is its first week as well.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I don't know. I'm very bad at the 90s. You're going to have to give me a bit of help here.
This is the second weekend release.
Okay.
It's a Christmassy movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie, and it's not a Die Hard. And it's...
I think Letterboxd is down.
Yeah, Letterboxd is down. Use something else.
I was using
1992, and it's a Christmas movie. Is it for kids?
Yeah.
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yes.
Starring Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And Rob Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Brenda Fricker.
Brenda Fricker.
Fantastic.
Very good. Number 2.
That's an Irish film because she's in it. Yeah. All right, number 2.
Okay.
Number 2.
Number 2, the Disney release of the year.
Beauty and the Beast.
No.
Is it like a good one or a shit one?
Not one I've seen.
No,
I guess it's a good one.
You guess it's a good one. Mulan.
People like this. No.
Little Mermaid.
No.
You've seen The Lion King. It's not The Lion King.
I haven't seen The Lion King.
It's The Lion King.
It's not The Lion King.
Pocahontas.
No.
It's not Aladdin.
It is.
It's Aladdin.
It's Aladdin.
You've never seen Aladdin?
No.
Aladdin's pretty good.
Aladdin in its 3rd week, still beating out The Bodyguard.
Yeah. A Whole New World.
A Whole New
That's
World.
That's a good film. Yeah. That's The Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King are the only ones of those 90s Disney films that I like.
Right. Next up.
The Bodyguard.
No. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was.
You were going up past that.
Next up.
Yes.
Is a spooky film.
A spooky film.
It's a spooky film.
A spooky film
with a not unlike Brenda Fricker, has an Irish connection.
An Irish connection. What would the Irish connection be?
7th build in this is Carrie Elwes.
7th build in this is Carrie Elwes. Oh,
yeah.
An Irish connection. Is there an Irish actor? Or is it set in Ireland?
There's an Irish name attached.
There's an Irish name attached.
Yeah.
Like a person involved in it? Or just a name
in
of
a
a
sense.
thing? So it's about like a spooky banshee or something. That kind of thing.
You're getting there.
Oh, I don't know. I need another clue.
Monica Bellucci is the 6th.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
sorry,
know.
okay, I'll get
Who's
to the
first?
director.
Who's first?
Gary Oldman.
Gary. Oh, this is Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Francis Ford Coppola movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
That's good. I saw it about 2 years ago. Yeah, it's good. Mm-hmm. Great cast. Oldman, Hopkins,
Yeah.
Winona Ryder?
Yep. Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And Sadie Frost. Do you know her?
Nope. But it's... So the Irish connection is Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker. Yeah.
You'd forget Bram Stoker was Irish.
We saw his house the other day.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Down in East Wall?
Scary part of town. I don't know.
No,
beside the Olympic flame.
That's to keep,
That's
to keep Dracula
That's
away.
not East Wall. That's just like North Inner City.
Yeah.
I don't know what you describe that street as. Sheriff Street adjacent. Right.
Perpendicular.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one more.
One more.
Is unfortunately about another famous black person who's died young.
Oh, God. Too many. Like Malcolm X?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch that.
Denzel.
I'm watching that. Spike Lee, Denzel. I'm watching that any day.
Hmm.
I'm going to watch that any day. I swear. I love Malcolm X.
Surprised you haven't gotten around to that already, given your Spike Lee.
It's just too fucking long.
Is it?
It's a tidy 3.5 hours.
Oh.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed hearing us discuss The Bodyguard.
No credits game this week, but that's
no
fine.
credits game. You don't need that shit.
I don't need
also,
that.
it's no fun if one of the stars has only been in 4 movies. Like,
And I also don't know that many Kevin Costner films. I'm not going to get them.
No,
So.
it would suck. The answer would have been Molly's Game. I promise you, that's what I would have picked.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in.
Whitney Houston. She's
Whitney
a star.
Houston. She's a star. Next week, folks, very special episode. We will be discussing the best film of 2024. Sure to win many Oscars and be at the top of my best films of the year list. From acclaimed auteur of American cinema, Sean Levy. It's Deadpool, ampersand Wolverine. A new release to jack up the numbers.
That is if we make it home.
If we get our premiere tickets and make it home from the attached,
Because it might
tequila
kill. It
reception.
might kill us.
It might kill us.
It might kill us.
Deadpool's gonna stick his big fucking fist out of the screen and he's gonna strangle you and he's gonna go, "That's for coming to my movie, you stupid idiot." And I'm gonna go, "Oh, it's so funny."
And he's gonna go, "You like that?"
Yeah. He's gonna go, "That's pretty gay, isn't it?" And I'm gonna go, "Oh, this is so homophobic." Anyway, that's coming up next week. You can visit boypartypod.com if you have an issue with us. You can go to boypartypod on Twitter and Instagram.
Should we try and make next week's episode our lowest list episode?
I don't know how we would do that.
We should tell everyone that's gotten
We
this
should
far
put
into the podcast not to listen.
We should put poison in the episode. Like, I'll put a virus in it.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
We'll attach a virus.
Yeah. Everyone who listens is getting tinnitus.
I think we're going to have more fun ragging on that movie than we had talking about The Bodyguard. But anyway, I had fun. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. Get home safe. I can't take my eyes off. You didn't see that one coming.
Bye. You were so off key.